So I vamped a little bit. I shared my Christmas rat. I talked about the fact that we have some fun questions from Richard O'Brien. Was there anything else that you wanted to chat about before we dug into all of the questions and answers that we have?
No, I think we're good to go.
Alrighty. So I have them up. Do you have all of your questions and answers up?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess we should start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start. And that first question that he answered was, what's the biggest difference in how you approach voice acting versus regular film acting? And how do you choose projects when it comes to voice acting? Do agents come to you and ask you to do it? I can't imagine that. Someone with your CV would have to audition for projects like Phineas and Ferb. And of course, Richard O'Brien's answer to that is, voice acting is a pleasure because you can read the lines, which you have already pored over, finding pauses and stresses, and then fly away without fear of the crowd turning on you. So that next question, Kelly, do you want to take this one away? Yes? Well,
Hello.
hi, can you hear me? Well, she's left, so that's okay. I'll go ahead and take over the next one just because I know that there are a couple of you who are watching in anticipation. So the next question was, what is your favorite book? And Richard O'Brien said, a favorite book is difficult to pin down. A large volume of all known great poets would be something to while away the long winter nights. And when I think of great poetry, of course, I think of dirty limericks because I am not a well-educated person. But if you want to go ahead and drop your favorite limerick in the chat, if I'm still vamping for time, I will read that aloud. But we're going to just keep on keeping on. Our next question, it is, have you ever seen an interpretation of the Rocky Horror Show that you found to be unique or a different but good take on your original work? Now, for those of you who are maybe just friends and fans of the movie, the Rocky Horror Show is, of course, the play version. It's a musical. It was what was around before the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Richard O'Brien was the person who is, of course, credited for writing that. So what he says is, I once saw a production in Essen performed in and by the Opera House, the ensemble. That was Baroque and rock and roll gone mad. So I can't imagine what that would have been like, but if you were in that, then Richard O'Brien saw you and thought that you were absolutely insane, but in a good way. Looks like we have the beginnings of a limerick. We have, there once was a man from Kilgrass. Okay, well, we'll keep going then. Hopefully, by the time we get to the next one, Kelly will be right back up. So we have question number 4. Do you think that Rocky Horror would have come into existence without the first production of Hair, where so many people seem to have been brought together for the first time? Now, a little bit of backstory for this one. For those of you that don't know, a lot of the people who are in the show and involved with the show originally were in one of 2 productions. The vast majority of them were in a production of Hair, and anybody who wasn't in that, it seems like they were in Jesus Christ Superstar. So, like I said, the vast majority of those people come from the Hair cast, and that's what we're really asking about with this. And Richard O'Brien says Nothing is formed in a vacuum, and so without previous references, very little that is considered new would ever see the light of day. You may have to sleep on this one for a while. It's already making my head ache. So, terribly sorry for that. It's one of those things that as I started researching everything, I I really was interested to see what his thoughts were. And it looks like Kelly is back. Kelly, can you hear me? And can I hear you?
I can kind of hear you. Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting. I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear that. All of that's good. We're on question 5 if you want to take it away.
Question 5.
Yep.
Sure. So we asked if you could recommend one sci-fi or horror movie, old or new, what would it be? Richard said, "The Day the Earth Stood Still wins on so many levels. The message still holds good, the acting is first class, and the lighting cameraman should have won an Oscar." So,
Have you seen that?
yeah, I've seen parts of it. I have not watched the whole thing start to finish. It is great from what I've seen. The ending is amazing. I've talked about that a little bit on the show, actually, when it was talked about in Science Fiction Double Feature. So I do need to sit down and actually watch it.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I have not seen it yet. Possibly because I watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show, multiple times a day now.
Yeah, I mean that's the one with the really great ending where basically humanity screwed everything up for themselves. So
Oh, was To Serve Man a cookbook?
it isn't that one, but yeah,
Okay.
it's the same type of scenario.
All right. Well, I said the first 4. Do you want to keep reading? Just because I'm sure that there are people who miss your beautiful voice.
Yeah, I'm sure. The next one is, do you have a dream role in theater you would absolutely love to play? And he said, I had a great wish to play Fagin in Lionel Bart's Oliver, and it became a wish fulfilled. I think he's a great. Oh,
Aw. Kelly, are y'all broken up about it?
hello.
Hello?
Testing.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not super sure if she can hear me, but I'm going to go ahead and mute her until she gives me the
Hello.
thumbs up again. Hello, can you hear me? All right. That's okay. So, hopefully, you guys heard. He really wanted to play Fagin. He was able to do that. And then.
Yep. Can you hear me or no?
I sure can. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
So yeah, I was just saying I think he's a great choice for Fagin. Then his next response was, I have a slight itch to play the magistrate in Wing Panera's play/farce of the same name.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not sure that I've heard of that, but I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I probably should have looked it up before we did this, but I did not.
Well, we will drop some information on our Instagram and our Facebook and our Twitter, which is a
Oh,
nice segue. If you see us scrolling on the bottom of your screen, if you like what you see, make sure you like us on Facebook and Instagram at Rocky Horror Minute and Twitter at Rocky Horror Min. And for those of you who aren't a super big fan of listening to podcasts outside of a site that you would already look at, we are slowly uploading everything to YouTube. So just search us up at Rocky Horror Minute, and you should be able to start finding our episodes there. We also have some fun other content that we'll be posting from time to time.
for sure. So the next question was a really good one. It's, what is your favorite song on the Rocky Horror or Shock Treatment soundtracks? And I was honestly kind of shocked to hear his response, but he said,
Same.
Superheroes gets an outing from time to time. Superheroes is one that a lot of Rocky fans don't even consider because of how it was not part of the movie for so long. At least in the American versions. Was it on the UK cut?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think people do sleep on that one from time to time, but it is, I think, one of the, I think it's a lower energy, but higher emotional stakes song. So I don't know, I kind of dig it.
Oh, I love superheroes. I just don't think it's not the one I would have expected to be Richard O'Brien's favorite, but
Uh,
that just goes to show how little I know. I guess I really do love it. One time we had the audio not work for our movie, or no, the whole movie wouldn't play right
right.
at a Shadowcast,
Well,
and
both have
so
happened, but yeah.
yeah, we went ahead with the show with no movie, which was crazy already. And we had to play the sound. We played the soundtrack through people's phones, literally held up to a microphone for the songs. But Superheroes wasn't on the soundtrack we had, so Leandra sang it, and it was beautiful.
Yes, I have the voice of a very emphysema, whatever, a crackhead with emphysema.
Ah, yes.
That's what I was
No,
going for.
that is not true. You have a beautiful voice, but it was really actually one of my favorite Rocky shows I ever did. We did lose a third of the audience, but the ones who stayed got something really special.
Yeah, I was surprised that it was only a third that left
Yeah.
because that was definitely an exciting time.
Yeah, it really shows you how much of the movie you have memorized when you don't have the movie to go on for cues.
I think my favorite part of that was, of course, all of the lines aren't in the soundtrack unless you're listening to the audience participation soundtrack, which we weren't using.
Right.
We were just using whatever we could find on our phones. And our very good near and dear friend Akeem was the criminologist, and he was really put to the test, and he knew the vast majority of the lines, but anytime he didn't, he would just kind of pause and go, I think you know what I'm trying to say. And the audience loved it, and to this day I'm just
It was really good. Uh, so the next question was, when it came to a project like Shock Treatment, how long did you have to write new music? For example, did you get the movie greenlighted before all the songs were complete, or did you get the go ahead and then you had to write all of the songs? I imagine you probably had some already written, but do you have to have all the songs done before you get the go ahead? And Richard O'Brien, this was his most relatable answer for me.
oh
He
yeah.
said, I write songs when pushed into a corner. Deadlines, script development, character development, guilt. The last one is odd, but kicks in when I'm feeling useless. I relate to this so much. I can't do anything except under pressure.
Yeah, those of you who know me outside of the podcast and maybe have done theater with me know that I kind of have a go-to line when I'm talking about line memorization, and it's the three things I need in order to memorize my lines are fear, guilt, and shame. And I need all three of those things, or I'm just not going to be able to have my lines memorized. I have
Right.
gotten better at that, but still a work in progress. So I can go ahead and jump in on the next one.
Sure.
A few years ago, you played a live show at Retrofest, I believe it was called, where you played It's Only Make Believe by Conway Twitty. You seem to have a wide interest in music. Is there any genre of music that you like that fans would be surprised to know? And Richard O'Brien said, I'm very fond of jazz, the cooler the better. Chet Baker, Billie Holiday, Stephen Grappelli.
Yeah, I love that answer. I also love jazz.
I I'm not gonna lie to you. I I'm a classically trained musician, and because of that, I really only listen to kind of the classical string arrangement sorts of uh, pieces for quite some time. And then when I got introduced to jazz, the fact that it didn't really follow as many rules really messed with me. So it's a little bit hard for me to enjoy jazz nearly as much as I would like to because it makes me feel like I'm missing out, and I really am.
Well, at least you didn't say it's hard for you to enjoy jazz because you have perfect pitch. So the next one was, how much input did you have in casting the Rocky Horror Picture Show as well as shock treatment? I know you had worked with some of the Transylvanians prior to the movie, so I imagine that it would have gone into the decision. I would think it also went into shock treatment because I know some of them obviously were in Rocky Horror. It's funny, until the Rocky Horror from concept to cult came out, many of us had no idea some Transylvanians were cast into it as well. But Leandra and I knew. We knew the obvious ones, but didn't know people like Raynor, Annabelle, Gay, and more were in it as well. So he said, I wasn't too concerned with the casting of the movies, as I felt then and remain convinced that it is the director's choice that matters most. Amen, Richard O'Brien.
Yeah, just trust your directors. Aw, and hello to you, Amanda. Hi, can you hear me? Well, looks like Kelly's doing that sporadic in and out sort of thing that she's best known for. So I'll go ahead and...
Fuck off.
You know I can't help but mess with you. But I'll go ahead and take the next one, and hopefully that gives your system a little bit more time to play nice. The next question...
I'm here. I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
You're definitely coming in and out, and you're definitely on a delay. But that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question. And this was, what is Rufus like? And for those of you who don't know, Rufus was one of the Transylvanians. He is kind of known as one of the very few people of color in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And it looks like Richard O'Brien said, Rufus was lovely. He choreographed the original production of Superstar. So, as I said before, I know that a lot of people came from that original hair cast, but some people came from Jesus Christ Superstar, and Rufus was certainly one of them. I think in one of the episodes I might have accidentally said a whoops and said that Rufus was the choreographer for the movie. That is not true, but he did go on to choreograph lots of things after Rocky Horror. And Kelly, if you're back, if you want to take this last one, because it's definitely the zestiest.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So yeah, the last one is a little spicy. So, not your mama's Rocky Horror Q&A. It is, I asked him we asked him what he thought of the new movie remake, that's Rocky Horror Let's Do the Time Warp Again, the Fox remake. And he said, the remake, in quotes, of Rocky Horror Picture Show was misguided and least said, soonest mended. So, I guess he didn't like it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well,
as I've said on the show, I did not make it through the first song, so it might be great. I have no idea. Don't come for me. But Richard O'Brien isn't a fan.
Well, I don't know that he said that he wasn't a fan, but he did say it was misguided. And
okay, yeah, I guess you could take, if you were trying really hard, you could take from that line that he is not necessarily not a fan, but.
And I mean, he said least said, soonest mended. So
let's say no more about it.
I know that that's what I say about lots of things. Generally about you.
Oh yeah, Leandra, what did you think of the remake?
Well, I'm just gonna have to quote somebody else and say least said, soonest mended. No, I thought it was fine. I don't think that it was supposed to be a remake.
Yeah.
But I will say that it kind of missed a couple of marks, and the fact that the time warp became too complicated for any person to reasonably be able to do, I think, was a big miss.
Oh, did they change the time warp?
Yes, obviously you can't change the jump to the left and the step to the right and stuff like that, but the Transylvanians were doing way too much choreography, so you couldn't go like, okay, as a shadow caster, let's do
Okay,
this.
I will say that in the original movie, it was pretty fucking complicated.
Okay, well, then this
Well,
would
I'm
blow
just
your
saying, don't you
mind.
think? I don't know. I struggle with Transylvanian choreography and the time warp, but as we all know, I'm not a dancer.
You are the talent, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But one thing I did kind of like about Let's Do the Time Warp Again was one of the Transylvanians was wearing a black suit with kind of white polka dots, if I recall correctly, and it was very evocative of a suit kind of combo that Patricia Quinn was wearing fairly frequently at that time. I want to say that she wore it for a magazine cover rather recently, at least at that point. And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. They're like doing a nod." But I might have been reading too much into it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I also thought that the background and the set that they had was at least fun. Whether or not it was good, not sure, but fun it was.
Yeah, I will watch it one of these days. I'm sure we'll end up covering it as a bonus episode.
Yeah, I I'm not saying that it's my favorite thing, and I'm not saying that I've watched it again, but I will say that it has occurred, and there's some stuff to like about it. That's few and far between, though.
Yeah.
So I've reached the end of the questions that we got. So we can do one of two things. We can either kind of wrap up, or I can pass the baton over to you and you can vamp for a couple minutes while I just kind of go like this.
Well, I don't know about vamping, but I was going to offer that if anybody had any questions for us, we could take them since we're live.
Oh, that's fair.
Um, I mean, yeah, the I'm sorry, guys, about how my technology has been handling this today. We're still kind of new to streaming, and I don't know if it was my internet or if it was StreamYard. Something was really giving me trouble, but I seem to be all right now.
Yeah, you look good, you sound good.
Look good. Yeah, I am naked, so
I mean, it certainly would appear that way. Please stop. We're gonna get kicked off of
I
this.
am not naked. I'm wearing clothes. It's just how I'm built. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
We're gonna get zucked.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, if anybody has questions, they can drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I guess that's a successful-ish live stream.
yeah, I know that a question that some people might have is why do you have these matching corsets? Was this just for that? Thank you, Adrian.
What did Adrian say? I can't see the chat. I
Oh,
don't know where you're seeing that, by the way.
Adrian said Zuck has entered the chat.
No, get out.
And then Dawn, darling Dawn, said, "Will you be posting this show on YouTube where Cosmo will see it?" The answer is yes. That is
And we'll
absolutely
probably
a
edit
thing.
it a little bit to take out some of the awkward technical difficulties moments. But yes.
And just so that we can
No,
comment, I saw areoli.
No.
I don't know what an areoli is. It must be some sort of
It's a type
pasta,
of
though.
pasta. It's a type of filled pasta. But no.
Well, you are a filled pasta.
I'm on Areola Petrola, and there is none. See?
Just as a side note, yesterday we did a photo shoot wearing these costumes, and it was, and I'm almost a little embarrassed to say it was at my grandmother's house, and we're just wandering around in corsets, and at some point my grandmother said, "So what is this for?" And I was really hopeful that my dad had conveyed that this was because we were trying to get some promo shots, hopefully get them sent over to this magazine that's doing a little bit of a shout out for us, you know, that sort of thing. But she didn't quite get that, but it's okay. Kelly, who was wearing what she is wearing now, told my grandmother that it was for a Christmas special.
Which it is. The promo shots were primarily for the Christmas special.
So that is pretty exciting. Kat says, "Are we ever going to do Rocky again?"
Yes.
I'm going to kind of channel Scarlett O'Hara and say, as God is my witness, I will do Rocky again.
Yes.
I don't know how, I don't know when, but I do know why. It's because I can't not.
Yeah, in a post-apocalyptic hellscape, like if the entire world is burned out and DC is just like that Fallout game that was set in DC. I don't know which one.
It's called Fallout.
No, there's a whole series. Oh, okay.
Fallout 3.
My boyfriend is chanting from far away, Fallout 3, Fallout 3. So there you go. If DC looks like Fallout 3, then I will still be doing Rocky in the burned out E Street Cinema.
And Dawn says, "Was your grandma wearing a corset too?" Well, thank you for that. The answer is no.
But her dad might have been, who was also there.
I would be shocked if that was a thing. He was trying very hard to be like, "Do you guys need anything? I'm just asking. I'm very okay.
Yeah.
Are you good? You good? That's great."
Yeah, I felt a little bad.
Not bad enough to not listen to what other people were saying, like, yeah, like you're chugging cock. That was a thing that was yelled at my grandmother's house.
Dan said stripper pole loudly many times. So
Oscar says grandma's Christmas hotties and gingerbread photo hour.
Oh my god. Man, is it too late to rename the show?
You know what? We'll go ahead and do that for next year,
okay,
when Oscar is our gingerbread man.
That'll be season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adrian says, "This ain't your grandmother's Rocky Horror Minute photo shoot." Thank goodness.
It literally was her grandmother's Rocky Horror Minute photo shoot. That was the problem.
I will say that this wasn't just like a random thing where we were like, yeah, let's just find somebody's house and be weird in it. She has a gorgeous setup. She collects Santa figurines, and she has just this incredibly nice vintage look of the Christmas tree, and it's always decked out. And there were gigantic presents under the tree. So this wasn't just a random, like, weird fetishy thing. At least it wasn't for me.
Yes. No, it actually does help a lot for me if I'm defiling an innocent place. So, yeah.
I hate that.
No, that's fine.
Amanda says, "I miss doing Rocky so much." We miss doing Rocky so much, and we miss doing Rocky so much with you, Amanda. So next time you're in DC and next time we're able to do Rocky, you should come by and say hello, bonjour, bon jovi.
Yes.
Kat says, "Woohoo."
I assume that was in response to defiling an innocent place.
That seems likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say one benefit of doing this photo shoot at my grandmother's is we got to hang out with the sweetest dog ever. She has a dog named Woody, and he is a semi-sentient teddy bear, and he just wandered around being very happy there were people.
Yeah, he was very cute.
Oscar says, "How does it feel knowing you're only at 30 minutes into the movie, like slightly under 30%? So much more ahead."
Feels good. I don't want this to end. I wish it could go on forever.
Honestly, same. I'm having a great time, and it really has been overwhelming what the reaction has been. And I hope that even when we move on to shock treatment, we keep some of your eyes and some of your ears kind of listening to us.
And honestly, I have to say that like it feels like we just started, and it's crazy that we're a third of the way through already. To me, that's how it
We've
feels.
only just begun.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a lot more than it feels like we've done. You know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And of course, we will have the occasional special or two. Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit about what to expect with our Christmas special?
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't heard this news, we actually have Barry Bostwick playing a small role as Santa, doing kind of a cameo in our Christmas special. So that's really exciting. It's gonna be like a kind of like a takeoff on those old Christmas variety hours that they did in the 70s. So it'll have two really hammy MCs, which are me and Leandra, hosting, and then we'll have some sketches, some songs. It'll be Christmassy and fun and silly. And again, Barry Bostwick joined as a cameo, which we're like incredibly humbled and grateful for. And I think that it's going to be fun for everybody. Please give that episode a listen. You won't regret it. We're working really hard on it.
Yeah, that will be posted sometime around Christmas. Hopefully we don't get hopefully we don't get delayed at all. But even if we do, it's worth the wait. So Oscar has a question. Do you want to do shock treatment, or are you absolutely going to finish Rocky Horror before moving forward?
No, these don't seem mutually exclusive. My answer, my answer to both is yes.
Yeah, Rocky first.
Rocky
Then we
first, but
will
we're
go to
definitely.
shock treatment.
I have forced her to commit to shock treatment. I'm actually really excited about that one. I want to introduce more people to that movie, and I feel like I want to bring more people on board with enjoying it, because I think a lot of people watch shock treatment once and they're like, what the fuck is this? Where's Tim Curry? And they never try it again, but I actually think there's a lot to love about that movie.
And there definitely is. I know that my very good near and dear friend Dawn was the first person to go, okay, so Leandro, we like shock treatment. And I said, "Oh, I'm not 100% sure that that's a true statement." She's like, "Okay, well, we're going to watch it because we like it." And and then I sat down and watched it with a cast at a convention and I went, "Oh. Oh, you're right." And she's like, "Well, obviously I'm right."
Dawn, thank you so much for doing that if you're still watching. Because I watched shock treatment for the first time with Leandra, and her her joining and doing all the callbacks and everything really added to the experience for me.
Yeah, it really was something that the first time I saw it, I watched it alone with Dan, and we had no idea what to expect, and we were like, "What the? Uh, I d- no." It was like when I tried to watch Farce of the Penguins, and no, I didn't say March of the Penguins. I said Farce of the Penguins, and I could not get through it. We were just like, "Turn that off. It's upsetting." Oscar says, "Do you see yourself doing shock treatment concurrently with Rocky Horror? Sorry, typed too fast."
No, never. I don't. That would be terrible. However, uh, we have talked about. We're probably going to get this going after the holidays, but we have talked about starting a Patreon and doing potentially the Rocky Horror porno. Which one? Which one is the one that you like, Leandra? The more recent one, the one
I,
you frequently get off to. Is that the Rocky Horror porno show or the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
neither, thanks.
Okay,
Um,
well,
hmm,
just answer
hmm.
the question, perhaps.
So I will say that there is one of them that has Ron Jeremy in it, and the cast used costuming from a local Rocky Horror shadow cast, and I believe that that one is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I might be mistaken. That was one that many years ago I saw with the current iteration of my Rocky cast, and we spent the entire time just going like, these costumes are great. What's going on
Yeah.
with this? This is fantastic. But yeah, that's really my experience with that. Oscar loved
Well,
it.
then that. Yeah, I mean, I so that I would love to cover for the Patreon, and I think that is something we would do concurrently. But we're waiting till we have the Christmas show at the door before we worry about that. I think.
I think that that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
But if you are looking to give us money, there are plenty of ways to do that. I know
Yeah.
through Anchor, you can drop us some cash. It's essentially like Patreon, but it's through them, and there's always a link with that information with all of our streams, even if it's on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's just at the bottom. So, you know,
Yeah.
or you can just ask Kelly to uh, to give some deets on how to give us money. Sure that she'll give you a Venmo.
Yeah, for sure. And that one I really like because I don't have to give Leandra a cut.
What?
So nothing. But yeah, the shock treatment show will be season 2 kind of Rocky Horror Minute. We're still figuring out how we're going to handle the feeds and everything, but we will wait until the first movie is wrapped up for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And just kind of wrapping this one up, I have a question for you, Kelly. Of the Richard O'Brien questions that we got back answers to, which one was kind of the most surprising for you?
Well, I mentioned I was pretty surprised about the superheroes thing. That's not the answer I would have expected,
Now,
but
what would you have expected?
um I guess like if somebody had like put a gun to my head and asked me to pick his favorite song, maybe like science fiction double feature because that has so much of himself and the things he loves in it, or like going over the soundtrack in my head. I mean, musically, a lot of the songs in Shock Treatment I think are a little better, and clearly that was a labor of love for him as well, so I maybe would have thought one of those, but I don't think Superheroes is a bad choice. I think it's great. I just was surprised that was his pick. And I'm very surprised that he answered the thing about the remake at all.
That is true.
I thought that would be one of the ones he passed up, but I guess not.
Well, Dawn says Phantom of the Paradise Minute.
We have
and
talked about
that
like,
it is on our list.
Yeah.
The next one that I'm kind of most excited about, just to answer Oscar's question of what non-Rocky, non-Shocky movie would you want to do if you could, I would say Labyrinth is very much on my like I desperately want to do this sort of list because David Bowie is like there's just so much good going on with that. But I know that that's a bit of a tough sell for Kelly.
It is. I'm willing to watch it again. I was not impressed when I watched it at age 14, but I'm a different person now. It has been a couple years since I was 14, so. But Phantom of the Paradise actually has me very interested. I haven't seen that one either, but from what I know of it, I'm really interested in checking that out.
So, Phantom of the Paradise was also a film that Dawn had introduced to me, and I saw that for the first time when I was up visiting with her, and I I was shocked at how good it was, and I was shocked at how little I had heard about it. So that is one that I'm certainly interested in.
Yeah, because ideally our show could focus on like cult classics. I mean, my real dream would be to focus on cult movies that were frequently shadow casted or like were part of like the midnight screening thing. But I feel like The Room's been done. Shout out to The Room Minute. Hedwig's been done. Shout out to the Hedwig Minute by Minute show, which is great. But so like a lot of the ones at least that I think of as being shadow casted are kind of already been done by other people. So
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that Clue Minute has been done.
oh yeah, Clue Minute's been done.
And I would be shocked if the Princess Bride Minute wasn't a thing.
Oh, the Princess Bride Minute apparently had multiple people start a podcast at the same time.
Oh, that was awkward.
Yeah, because that's something that people told me when I first started up, because it was right around the time another Rocky podcast started. A lot of people said, "Oh, the same thing happened with Clerks and with The Princess Bride." So, um, but anyway, so yeah, Princess Bride Minute has been done multiple times apparently. I
Yeah,
didn't know that was shadow casted. That'd be
I
interesting.
know that down in Virginia Tech, that was something that was shadow casted. My guess is that other places have done that as well. Robert is the person who runs the Virginia Tech cast, and he did a lot of non-Rocky shadow casting as well, and it always seemed very fun.
Yeah, I would love. I've only ever been on a Rocky shadow cast, but I would love to shadow cast some other movies. Do you ever find yourself when you're like watching a movie that, like just any movie, like thinking about how you would shadow cast it?
Yes, yes, yes,
Especially musicals
yes.
for me, where there's choreography.
Leandra, casted is not a word.
Neither is shadow cast, come to that.
Yeah, you are right. Casted is not a word. I think the way I said it was not quite as egregious as perhaps other things. I don't remember though. If I did say something that sounded damn stupid, I am very sorry. I am damn stupid. But for those of you that were late, I did want to show yet again my favorite animatronic. It is a Christmas rat that sings Ice Ice Baby and has a Marilyn
No!
Manson button on it. Yes.
Why does he sing Ice Ice Baby? You didn't tell me that part.
I love him. He is he is my oldest animatronic. Maybe not my oldest childhood friend, but he is a thing that exists. And he's got sunglasses that don't quite cover his eyes.
He is really cute.
Yeah.
So this was just put into my hand, this Christmas ornament off my tree.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't have a lot in the way of Rocky Horror ornaments, um, which I think is definitely a failing on my part. Hint, hint.
Okay. Loud and clear.
Well, it is a little bit before 6, and if we had started on time, that would have meant that we've been on for about an hour. So we're going to pretend that that was the case.
Yeah.
And
Joining us for a full hour.
yeah, thank you very much. I had a lot of fun. Kelly, I hope you had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And of course, all of you watching, I hope you had a fantastic, wonderful, delightful amount of fun. And if you didn't, I'm terribly sorry. You can leave us a 5-star review with your complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thank you very much. We will, of course, post this on our YouTube and our podcast feed at some point so that the Richard O'Brien answers are very accessible. But we had a really good time compiling some questions for him, and I was really happy to get his answers. So thank you to everyone who contributed. I'm sorry if he didn't pick your questions. He chose the ones that spoke to him, I guess.
And thank you very much again to Dawn and of course to Cosmo. Cosmo was our inside man on getting these questions over to Richard O'Brien. So I really can't thank them enough.
No, yeah.
But much love, and I hope that you're having a fantastic winter time. And for those of you that celebrate, happy Hanukkah. We are in the 4th night as of like now. So happy Hanukkah, happy early Christmas, and I guess let's end this the same way we end all of our episodes, with us speaking at the same time. We go, now you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, so get the fuck out.